Y'all see that young dude, the young black kid that stabbed the white boy in the chest?
Yes, sir. We saw it, Mr. Kwame Brown. It's all over the world. But let's see what this brother got to say about this. Family, once again, we're doing a reaction video to Kwame Brown as he talked about what happened in Frisco with these two young men. Let's get into it.
Y'all seen that? They about to start a riot over one little stupid situation. I'm like, why do you have a knife? This is what I don't understand. Like, I keep a knife. I got a pocket knife. I grew up, all my uncles, everybody had a knife. You whip that.
Okay, family. He said when he grew up, he had a knife. Everybody had a knife. He just whipped that. Let's finish hearing what he got to say about growing up with a knife.
Motherfucker, how you cut something, you know, it's a knife. If a motherfucker jump on you.
Now, he said if somebody jump on you, you got that knife. Kwame, this is what you're saying.
They jump you, you got a blade to get a motherfucker off you. But why would you take a knife to a damn track meet? Do everybody thinking about that?
I'm gonna stop right there. Ladies and gentlemen, also I have my brother Jason Sanders. Jason, we doing a reaction video. What do you think so far concerning this situation as to what Kwame is saying in regards to how it was when he grew up with knives? What's the difference? I want to know what's the difference.
Well, I'm not really for sure where he's trying to go with it when he says a difference. I think he's really just trying to pick what narrative he wants to run with. You know, if you got a knife, you got it for a reason, you know.
I agree. I agree. Just like when he said he had his coming up. The reason he gave. Go ahead.
The thing about it, I think that's concerning is, you know, the way that we get on here talking about it, it kind of, you know, when we let them pose questions like that, we really shouldn't answer them. And if we do, we should say it like, why does this young man feel like he needs a knife? Like, you know, like they're trying to pose it as if his intentions was to go there to do that. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
And they're not talking about the prelude to all of this, you know, that we really don't know, that we're waiting for all the evidence to come out to why this young man felt like he had to have one.
Exactly. My thoughts exactly. But hey, let's deal more into what this brother got to say. As of right now, I really can't tell the difference in why he took a knife at a young age as to the difference in which this young man was carrying a knife at a young age.
Well, he already told you to keep somebody up off of him if needed, but he's trying to say to cut something, to this or that, you know.
Well, and even in that, now how would he know if you cut somebody to get them up off of you that they wouldn't die?
Absolutely.
Okay, let's move on.
Like when I competed in sports and shit, we'll go over to everybody else's little, you know, 10 or whatever, just to talk trash. And, you know, just to talk a little trash, just to fuck around a little bit, tell them we're gonna kick your ass when we race, whatever. And the only thing I ever seen is a fight in one of those situations. I never seen somebody. I couldn't imagine being a teenager, 16, 17, at a track meet and see somebody gushing out blood like that. Like, what the?
Okay, Kwame. Now you're saying that you couldn't imagine being at a track meet, but sir, what I want to know is wherever you were, and when you got attacked, it would still be the same difference. The only thing that would be different would be the geographical location. He happened to be at a track meet when somebody attacked him. But wherever somebody attacked you, when you had your knife on you, and what you said you would slash somebody to get off of you, does the geographical location matter if somebody's attacking you? I think not. What you think, Jay?
Oh man, it don't matter at all. That, you know, and you know, like I said, I think he's just trying to frame it to be careful with his words, you know, because in real life, if somebody try to jump on you, one or two people, and they put their hands on you, you know, what you think he gonna do, especially if he's scared.
Yeah, well, my thoughts exactly, but let's see what else Mr. Kwame got to say. Because so far it sounds like he's saying his situation in as it pertains to carrying a knife is different than this young man's situation.
I feel like he's just trying to. I feel like he's just tiptoeing on a different angle to not just deal with it straight on and raw. You know, they don't want to talk raw. They worried about losing their channel and they're worried about all that other stuff versus just saying what it is. If whatever history that this young man and this other young man have that led them to get into that, you know, then the truth will come out.
Well, black people been tiptoeing for way too long. So, but anyway, let's hear him out. He might start to make more sense. As of right now, he's not making much sense to me, but let's hear him out.
Guy who killed the young man, his life is over. His ass gonna get a life sentence. And the young man who got killed, his life.
Oh, what do you mean he's going to? Brother, I'm in Texas. Frisco is about 2 hours away. In the state of Texas, they have a stand your ground law. So, Kwame, I'm trying to ask you, brother, how is it that, yeah, we know he didn't have to have the knife or even wasn't supposed to have the knife, but he had the knife. And he used the knife officially in the capacity and the manner in which he had by law the right to do, which was standing your ground. But you're saying he's going to get life. Why would he get life, brother? Jason, you think he getting life?
I sure hope he don't. I don't think he should, but you know, we know how they get.
Well, hey.
We gotta let these boys fight now. I'm telling you what's wrong. The boys don't get to fight no more.
Okay, so let me start by saying, Kwame, everybody can't fight. As a matter of fact, Kwame, take a look at this. Let me see this. If you remember this, Kwame. These pictures right here. This right here. Here's Jonathan Martin, former football player. You remember this story, Kwame? Now, this brother is 6'5", 315 pounds. You remember him? Remember Richard Incognito, Miami Dolphins? Now, everybody blasted this brother right here, Kwame, who's 6'5", 315 pounds. You see the measurements. Kwame, they blasted him because when he was getting picked on, he didn't fight back. He decided to go ahead and I guess they could say snitch or tattletale, however you want to call it. He decided that, hey, even though I'm big, that's just not my thing. Kwame, everybody isn't a fighter, brother. Some people, you know what I'm saying, they can play football, they're the most athletically inclined, but when it comes to actually hitting a man, some people just aren't built like that, just like some people aren't built for war. Some people can't pick up a gun and literally watch a bullet go through a man's flesh. And you can't blame. Go ahead.
Right. And you know, some people don't realize that when you can't tell a man how to respond. Again, we don't know the history with these guys, but I do believe I had saw somewhere where this bullying has been going on. And I think I had saw where this young man had a gun on Instagram talking about, I wish a monkey would or something like that. So, you know, depending on what's really going on and in this climate, in this environment that we are in, a lot of people not taking chances. I kind of feel like, you know, everybody trying to say to what degree this man should have went, but we don't know what preluded all of this. We don't know what kind of emotions. We don't know what type of losses this person done took. I don't know. But I know for a fact that I think everybody's trying to spin their own narrative, but us as African Americans, Native Americans, blacks, melanated people, whatever you want to call it, is that, hey, we keep trying to play within the rules that somebody else gave us rather than our natural, you know, our natural manner. You know what I mean? And that's why I kind of get offended when everybody want to talk. You know, most of the time they want us to be docile. Yeah, they don't want us to have any aggression. Exactly. And you know, I get it. They're saying, hey, before it comes down to death and murder, you know, yeah, we should be able to duke it out. But that's why they have guns. That's why they have knives, because like you just pointed out, everybody can't fight. If you know, it's as simple as that. And we acting like we can't address it as that and leave it at that.
Yeah, and that's my thing. Since he See, I think Jadakiss said the worst thing uh than a coward is a coward with power. So
Absolutely.
let's just say this. Here's a definition or a circumstance in which that applies, because this brother, he was a coward. And I'm gonna say coward based on the fact that he just shouldn't have used, in my opinion, the knife. But the power that he got it because he didn't know how to fight. So
What
even go ahead.
I'm sorry. I had referred to this earlier. I heard this one dude to say to lift 400 pounds to get hit with that 40. These young people, they not built like that. You know what I'm saying? They already know I'm not finna get injured. I'm not finna go in the ground. I want to be on this side. And the way that the laws are right now, man, you can't as us, we can't even flinch the wrong way.
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
if I can't defend myself as a 17-year-old boy, as a 27-year-old man, as a 37-year-old man, I'm gonna crash out at some point.
Yeah.
And you know that's exactly what we're kind of doing. But they're trying to say, "Oh, it's because there's no man in the house." But we know why there ain't no man. And all of this is orchestrated. Everything you see right now, we should already expect it to be this way.
Yeah. Yeah.
But as a man, he's going to respond, and we cannot tell him how to respond.
Yeah. And like I was saying, when you're talking about a coward, I'm saying a coward meaning not in a derogatory word, but a coward meaning afraid. When Jadakiss was talking, he was talking saying, you know what I'm saying, a coward with power, somebody who's afraid, but they have power. When they're afraid and they have power, they're going to do things, you know what I'm saying, unstable.
Well, they just like our police.
Exactly. Prime example. Exactly.
You know, they have a gun. The other person won't have a gun, and they'll say, "I feared for my life."
Exactly.
But it can't go both ways.
It can't. It shouldn't, and it won't. We won't let it. You know what I'm saying? Because we saw what y'all did with Zimmerman. He was told not to pursue by the dispatcher. He pursued anyway, and he claimed self-defense, even though he was the one that had the gun. But everybody applauded and clapped when he was acquitted. But anyway, let's hear a little bit more of this.
Remember when we used to fight? They used to just break it up. All right, now stop all that goddamn rough house. No more fight. It was just normal. Now, boys don't never fight. It's always fighting. It's always a knife. It's always a gun. We got to get back to letting young men fight.
Kwame, what if they don't want to fight? Is my point. And the people who understand, they understand that everybody just aren't built to fight. That's like every man isn't built to go to war. Some might be better with triage and actually some people can deal with blood when it comes to sewing somebody up, cutting, you know what I'm saying, on a, you know, as a doctor, but they'll never get anywhere close to hunting or watching a bullet go through flesh. People are just different, brother.
Well, you know what's sad about it is we are being made to pick a side when we really talking about Carmelo represents our children.
There you go.
And we so weak. I hate to say it. We so beat up.
That's what it is.
We're so scared.
Yeah.
That we can't say nothing.
Yeah.
And then we got to watch them take this young man to their jailhouse.
Yeah.
Behind their bars, getting talked and scared and intimidated by not only the police or the officers that's in there. I'm not there, but I can just imagine.
Yeah.
And the other inmates in there.
Yeah. Yeah.
So even by the time they raise up enough money, I think I had seen somewhere where they was talking about even when that Amber Geiger girl killed the Botham boy, he got out. It was only $300,000 bail.
Yeah.
A bond. You know what I mean?
You
got $1 million on this boy with no prior issues.
$1 million. Yeah. $1 million.
Crazy.
$1 million for a brother, a black young teen who was physically assaulted, who by all accounts did follow all the standard ground laws that are applicable in the Texas law book or
Well,
manual, whatever,
penal code and stuff.
penal
Yeah.
code, yeah.
The problem is though, those laws don't apply to us. And
Well,
since it don't, what you're going to see and what they don't want to see, and I understand it, but they don't want us talking about it, is that you're going to fight. Fight's going to lead to war, even if it's hand to hand. And if you realize you can't handle somebody, and then let's remember, it wasn't just him, it was him and his brother.
Yeah.
And I think they outweigh him and they're bigger than him. So
yeah, 2-on-1.
2-on-1. So we just talking about these podcasters be talking about it, but they don't realize the more they talk about it in the light that he is, and I like Kwame. I follow Kwame on a lot of stuff, but I feel like if you just not going to go and pick the side because they done picked their side.
Oh yeah.
And the boy wasn't a bad boy. And I think you had told me earlier that he had already saved a life before.
Yeah.
He saved a life.
From a 2-parent home.
Yeah. So you kind of like say, man, what are we looking at? And why are we allowing the way we're talking about it, crystallize public opinion on how the court is then going to use this emotional stance, right?
Exactly.
This is the emotional stance. These two brothers are fighting.
Yeah.
And whatever you have, you're going to use it before. And really, I hate to say it.
Well, hold on. When you say they're fighting, who do you mean?
What's the white boy's name? Excuse me.
Okay, well, no, let's be specific. One kid was being assaulted.
Bullied.
The other
Carmelo was being bullied. Yes.
The other was defending himself. So when we say they were fighting, it wasn't no fight. It was, hey, I'm gonna warn you.
Right.
He said, if you touch me, and that's a whole nother thing.
Well, see, right. So I'm kind of concerned, and I haven't gotten deep into it like I need to, but like what they're going to focus on, in my opinion, is at what point did the knife come out? Is what they're going to try to use to, the sequence of events. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
To try to say, well, this intent was this, but they're leading right now. Even with Mr. Brown was saying is, why did you have a knife? That even shouldn't come into question.
Exactly.
It's kind of like, why did I have a concealed weapon? It's concealed. Exactly. You didn't need to know I had it. What we're talking about.
Exactly. Right. Yeah. And like I agree. What you're saying is they're trying to overshadow the things that really matter.
Right.
What really matters is, even though he had a knife, nobody would have known about the knife if he hadn't had to protect himself.
Right.
He would not have had to protect himself
if
nobody would have assaulted him.
Right. So, but like I said, they want us docile. We can't. We better not say nothing.
Oh well, hey man, we are not our ancestors.
It's not as bad as y'all make it out. We got women that fight all the damn time. We see the LGBT fight all the goddamn time on TV. You don't never see two men getting motherfuckers up from the shoulder on the streets, and it be a fight, and they let it go. Men have become the new women. That's what it looked like to me. Everybody got a gun. Everybody talking about, hey, nobody better not touch me. Man, you supposed to get your shit bust up as a kid. That's what teach you pecking.
But Kwame, you're supposed to do that when there's two people who really want to do that.
Right.
You understand? You're talking about a man who didn't want to fight and a man who was trying to force him to fight. It's a whole nother issue. Now, I agree with everything you're saying when you're talking about two guys who understand, okay, yeah, this is what we want. But if I'm telling you, and I got my hand in the bag, and I'm telling you, hey, I wish you would, I'm letting you know I'm not finna fight hand to hand with you. I've got ulterior motives because this is not what I'm about. What you got to say on that?
You wouldn't even have heard about it if it was two brothers.
Exactly.
You might not would have even heard about it if it was two white boys. You know, it's just the fact that it's able to be spent this way. And what you're seeing is now, if this fight goes back to the youth, these young boys start having it, then what they always feared anyway. Oh, Dad, I can't compete with Leroy. He's too fast. He's too big. He's too strong. You
Yeah,
know what I mean? And then the
all of
coach
that.
says, well, yeah, I can just set him down. You know, it's
Mm-hmm.
everything is to keep you under control.
Exactly.
And this is what that is. But we all really know what time it is, and we know what we're looking at, you know. So
Yeah,
it's,
yeah,
you know,
yeah.
No, that's what teach you how to respect another man's mind. Chasing your own blood, getting your shit bust up for running your goddamn mouth. Guess what? It say lie.
Kwame, I agree. But this brother was minding his business. You're talking about somebody running a mouth, you know what I'm saying, trying to cash a check that they, you know what I'm saying, trying to, write a check that they ass can't,
cash. Yeah,
cash.
yeah,
The hyperbole. But this
yeah.
doesn't fit this brother because he wasn't running his mouth. He was minding his business. And he had every right to be, everybody's trying to talk about where he was. So you mean to tell me we bringing back redlining in 2025 at a high school campus? We're bringing back redlining where this white kid can go say to this black kid, "Hey, you don't belong over here."
He
Come on.
he didn't even run track, did he?
I don't believe so. He's a football
He was
team.
a football player, right? So it's kind of like, hey, it's almost like these. Like I say, I love Brother Kwame, and I take his stance on a lot of things when I hear, but you know, sometimes I just feel like, you know, this is a sports event, so you know, he probably had to come out and say it like that. I really don't know, but at the end of the day, we understand that still what it is at its raw baseline issue, at the, you know, at the
Yeah,
butt of the issue, we know what the problem is, that this boy lost.
yeah,
And
and I,
he lost his life.
yeah, and
You
I
know, and
agree.
we're not saying that he shouldn't die. I mean,
Yeah,
we didn't want that to be the outcome, but
yeah.
that's always the possibility of an outcome when you're.
And, and we understand the frustration. The frustration is everybody's looking at the so-called bigger picture, which is, yes, the bigger picture is he lost his life, but the bigger picture to somebody else would be, wait a minute, if he had not have had this knife to protect him, who knows what would have happened to him. And
Right.
that's the same narrative, and that's the same ideology and philosophy that they use concerning the police officers. That's what they use with George Zimmerman. You know what I'm saying, in his self-defense claim. Hey, because see, police have something where people don't know, where they say, really, you're never unarmed because as long as you got two hands, you could kill somebody.
Well, boxers, they have to have their hands registered.
Yeah,
Karate people, they got to have their
yeah,
hands registered. Well, and if they really wanted it safe, you know, they could make you walk through metal detectors. There's a lot of things that could have been done before it got to this level.
yeah.
You know,
Well,
it, you
and
know,
I think,
I just mean from the adults, from the officiants, from the officers. There's a lot of, like, before they go into school, they got to walk through metal detectors and stuff.
yeah, and well, the only thing you can't stop is somebody being a bully. And that right there is the only thing, in my opinion, that is the deciding factor, because we're not talking about somebody dying if somebody's not getting bullied.
Right.
Simple as that. We're not having this conversation.
Yeah. The first time, when I told you I was 13, 14 years old, I thought I was hot shit. You couldn't tell me nothing. I don't give a fuck how big you was, how tall you was, old you was. Man, when I turned 14, I don't know what the fuck happened. I just thought, shit, couldn't nobody fuck with me until I got my ass whipped. And then I realized, let me calm the fuck down, because I can't whip everybody ass. That nigga kicked my ass.
Okay, Kwame, but this is a different situation. You're saying that you walking around like Billy Badass and you got humbled. Okay, that happens. So what it sounds like, what you're saying is you was doing the same thing the white guy was doing. You were being a bit of a bully because you were bigger, but the brother Carmelo Anthony was minding his business, brother. So even though you're talking about what you're talking about, it's not connecting to this particular story because it doesn't have the elements that this story has, except if you want to connect your behavior with the white guy's behavior. Anything, Jay?
I just feel like, you know, or I just wish more evidence would come on out so we can see. You know, they got what they got. They got the surveillance. hey, instead of rationing it out, just go and put it out so we can. If you want us to talk about it, they want us to go back and forth about it. Just put it all out so we can, analyze the whole thing, and go from there.
Exactly. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, that nigga kicked me on top of my goddamn head and shit. Yeah, that nigga did a roundhouse kick. Wow. I said, oh shit, that nigga know jujitsu, black jujitsu. And guess what? People laughed or whatever. That's cool. But guess what? I learned the lesson, and I'm alive today. You gotta let these kids fight. I know the mama's jumping in front. Don't you touch my goddamn boy. That's my baby. Everybody jumping in front and touching and protecting boys. They gotta get their ass whipped young because it's a correction. Your boy is not.
Okay, Kwame, but brother, they're supposed to get their ass whooped young by their parents. I understand what you're saying, but that don't mean, you know what I'm saying, they gotta, take an ass whooping. If I'm minding my business and my family teach me to mind my business, I go out into the real world and I continue that training. That training is, hey, watch your mouth, be respectful, and mind your business. Why? Because I've learned by getting my ass whooped in my house that, hey, this is how you conduct yourself. And this is what this brother was operating in, which is what we call home training. But now that I've got home training, you mean to tell me that I'm supposed to just what? Not protect myself? If I'm not a fighter? It doesn't work that way, brother. It just don't.
Well, and I'm glad you made a great point. Home training has a lot to do with this. In order for those boys to feel like they could do what they do and make some of the comments that they've made online,
yeah,
automatically let you know what they thought about this young man anyway. And I remember taking my son to a park when he was younger, and this is at this park. There's a lot of Indians over there from India, respectfully, but they let their kids run around, and my son was building a castle in the dirt. And they came over there and kicked it. And I said, at first I thought it was an accident. So I said, I let him go back and play. And after he built it again, they came right back over there and kicked it again.
Oh, no.
And so I just looked at the parents, and he built it again to when I went to look like I was about to grab one of their kids. Then they came over there. And I went over there and said, say, you saw me looking at you, and I told your kids to stop kicking his dirt. Why didn't you say nothing? At the end of the day, man, a lot of us can't stand for being bullied to a certain degree, and that's for each person to have. I can't tell you when there's enough bullying, right? And I can't tell you how to respond. At the end of the day, Kwame saying let them fight, but we don't know if the fight gonna stay a fight on either side. You know what I mean?
We don't know.
So, what happened is what happened. Hopefully we can get all the evidence and learn, what really transpired, how far this went back. And, we'll be able to, break it down a little bit with a little bit better with more evidence. But, firsthand, if they're going to defend him like that, they're defending the young football player. We actually need to defend the other Carmelo until we find out things, because that could be my son, that could be your son, and we crazy to make it, to even think that it's fair. We've been taught since we were kids, ain't nothing fair. Well, I ain't gonna let you hurt me.
No. But family, you've been tuned into TWID stands for That's What I Do. Tonight we've been joined in by my brother Jason Sanders. He's gonna be coming on